Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vasel and Sam Healey.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel.
Sam Healey, what's up?
Today we're taking a look at Smash Up. Now, this is not a new game.
No, not even close.
Well, I wouldn't say it's
newish,
old.
I guess.
It's like 4 years old now, maybe?
Yeah.
Or 3 or 4. Smash Up from AG. Now, what we're showing you here is the big geeky box. Smash Up came out, and then they've had a follow-up expansion the following year, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one, and then a Munchkin one, and then the big box, well, the big box one, then a Munchkin one, and now another expansion's coming out.
Yeah.
Smash Up is a deck, what they call it, a deck shuffling game,
I guess so, yeah.
where you took two factions and shuffle them together, and then you fight against each other. How does that work, Sam?
Let me show you. As you begin playing a game of Smash Up, the first thing you're going to do is pick your factions. And basically what you would do here is you would choose any two of these factions and put them together to make one 40-card deck. Each faction comes with 20 cards, so if you have two factions, they equal 40-card decks. So you could pick tricksters and pirates, or you could choose dinosaur aliens, or dinosaur zombies, or zombie wizards, or ninja robots, or whatever you'd like to. Any kind of combination is absolutely legal. And so you would take, for example, I would want to take the, I don't know, let's go with zombie aliens. And we would take the deck in and shuffle them together. So after everybody has chosen their factions and made their 40-card deck, a number of bases are put out equal to the number of players plus one. The bases are where you're actually going to be playing your minions from your hand into these different fields of battle, so to speak. The big numbers here in the center of the card are how many points are awarded for having the most power and then going down. So the person who has the most power in their minions gets 4 points, the second person gets 2 points, and the third person, or the third most, gets 1 point. This number here is the number of total power from all the minions from each of the different players that will either equal to or exceed this number, and at the end of someone's turn, if that happens, this one scores. Down here at the bottom is a special effect that will happen either during the gameplay or when this scores. Once the bases are put out, each player would take their starting hand of 5 cards. So with player 1 here, player 1 has chosen, as you can see here, the ninja robots. So actions are certain things that you're going to be able to do during the course of your turn, but once they're done, they're placed in their discard pile and they're done away with, unless it's an ongoing effect, and then it would stay on the board. Minions are those people from your deck that are actually going to be staying on the bases and providing a number of power to go towards that base's breaking point. For example, the Zap Bot here provides 2 power. And then he has a special ability down here. It says you may play an extra minion of power 2 or less. So when you play this guy, you would play him down to one of the bases, and he's always facing the direction of the person that played him. And then he has the special ability here that lets him play an extra minion of power 2 or less. So I still have my action to play, so I could choose either of these actions to play. So move one of your minions to another base, or play on a minion, destroy any number of actions on it. Ongoing, this minion has -4 power, minions have a minimum power of 0. So these are things that you could do if you wanted to. At the end of my turn, I draw 2 cards into my hand, and if those 2 cards take me over 10, then I would have to discard down to 10, since you do have a limit of 10 cards in your hand. But once I've drawn my 2 cards, I would then trigger any effects that happen on the end of my turn, and then after those effects have been handled, it goes on to my opponent. So my opponent here has the alien zombies, and so he's going to first of all play. I'm going to go here and play on the Monkey Lab, and that Scout says that special, after this base is scored, you may place this minion into your hand instead of the discard pile. So whenever a base is scored, normally minions go to their player's discard pile, but this guy would come back into my hand instead of going to the discard pile. And then as an action, we're going to play They're Coming to Get You, which says play on a base, which this is. It is an ongoing effect. On your turn, you may play a minion here from your discard pile instead of from your hand. So that's a pretty cool, nifty ability that the zombies can do. And those are my 2 cards for my turn, so I'm going to draw 2. And then on the third player's turn, they have chosen to do the Pirate Wizards. Interesting combination there. And we're going to first of all play the Enchantress here. And then that lets me draw a card. That's her special ability. She's providing 2 power. Her special ability lets me draw a card, so I just did. And then I'm going to play Sea Dogs. As an action, name a faction, move all other players' minions of that faction from one base to another. So I'm going to name the Robot faction. And so these robots here all move to a different base. So we're going to put them over here so that you guys can fight over those 4 points. And so play would continue in that fashion, pretty quick turns until the total number of one of these bases is met or exceeded, and then that base would score. Let me show you. So the Adventure Salon has popped, and basically what that means is we have higher than 20. We have 22 or more power between all of the different minions that are there. So this scores at the end of the Robot Ninja's turn. So we take and look to see who has the most power, which is the Robot Ninjas, and they get 4 points. So 1, 2, 3, 4 are added to their pile. So they have 4 points. The second most is the zombie aliens, and they get 2 points. So 2 more are added. Now, the reason they already have a victory point over here is because this minion, the invader, gained them 1 victory point. So now they have 3 points to 4 points. And then the pirate wizards get 1 point. Then this says the winner may take an action from his or her discard pile and place it into her hand. So the winner was the Robot Ninjas. So we could take this action here and place it into our hand. Right there. Then this is removed. All minions come back to their owner's discard pile unless a special ability on the card states otherwise. For example, the first mate here says that after this base is scored, you may move this minion to another base instead of the discard pile. And there's 2 of them there. So both of these guys, we're going to place them, let's put them right here, over on Monkey Lab. The Enchantress would go back to the deck. This action that was on the base is put back into that one, and then a new base is drawn, and the game would continue until at least one person has 15 victory points or more. And if there are more than one person that has 15 victory points or more, whoever has the most victory points wins, and that's how you play Smash Up.
Now, we've talked about Smash Up in the past, so this is kind of a retrospective, but as a look at it, a game that's very popular and still, as far as I can tell, seems to sell very well. The expansions, and I think the next one's called You Asked For It. It's the one that the fans voted on and has sharks and some other stuff in it. So what do you think of Smash Up, has your opinion of it changed?
No, my opinion is, well, I guess it's changed a little bit. At first, I wasn't very enamored with it. I mean, it was kind of ho-hum. I was like, it was cool that you could take the 2 factions and put them together and then battle out. And at first I was like, okay, whatever. But over time, it appeals more and more in that I guess it just becomes more familiar as you go along. And with all of the different factions that they keep releasing, the possibilities of combinations continues to increase, and that's part of the draw factor for me. I really enjoy all of the, just choosing. And I know that there are combos out there of factions that are OP or more powerful than others. I don't pay attention to that. It's almost like I'm going to flip a coin to see which ones I choose. whenever I'm playing. So I don't usually go for finding those combinations and then exploiting them like some people like to do.
I don't know that there's like, I know that some people might say that, but I don't know that there's any consistent basis like this combo is the best.
Well, that may be true.
I've met people who are convinced of that.
Yes, and that's what I'm talking about. Those kinds of people, and I've beat those kinds of people just playing random.
With his fists.
No, in the game. And so with just a random combination. So I think there's a lot of balance here. I don't think there are any combinations that are completely overpowered or anything like that. I just really enjoy the game. And well, that's one of the reasons why I enjoy the game.
Yeah, I liked Smash Up when it first came out, and my enjoyment has gone up. Each expansion adds that much more variety to it. The original one, I believe, has 28 different combinations that you can do. 56 divided by 2, yeah, 28. And then when they added 4 more factions in the next one, then that increased it to 132, 66. So it just keeps going up and up and up. And then they added in more and more factions. And the factions they add are like cool, geeky factions.
Yeah.
And I feel like for the most part, the factions are, you're going to find a faction that you like. So,
yeah.
You know, you might like, I mean, the original one kind of got you where it was at robots and ninjas and stuff. But then they added ghosts, they added haunted stuff. If you like Cthulhu, which I think for me is the weakest of the expansions.
Yeah, for me definitely. I don't like the adding curse tokens. No.
Well, I don't actually mind that. I just think they could have done with like one Cthulhu faction. There's like 4 Cthulhu factions, but not bad. Then there's the Pretty Pretty Princess faction. I don't think. Do you have that one even?
No, I don't have that.
Will you get it?
I have no desire to get it. I'll put it that way.
There's the Mad Scientist faction. Yeah. And so there's really a lot of different combinations, and for me that's a lot of the fun of the game.
Right.
Hey, I'm using giant ants mixed with ghosts, and you're going to be using robots mixed with shapeshifters. And I mean the front of this box here just even shows just all the different combinations. They even added Munchkin. I don't think you've played the Munchkin one, but it actually works really well though.
I don't really have a desire for that one either, but. Yeah, no, I mean, I think the main thing here is that it's one of those games that you can buy the factions that you like and not worry about the ones that you don't like.
That's true, and it won't hurt you. It's not like you're losing out.
It doesn't, you're not losing anything from the game at all, and that's one of the beauties about the game is that it comes with everything you need to really enjoy the game, and then those factions that you can add onto it just kind of enrich that enjoyment, I guess you could say.
I'm a big fan of the artwork.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of, they've done a good job at selecting factions. They ran out of ideas, so now they're getting them from us. Like even in that contest, the 4 winners of the contest went into that expansion, but there was so much clamoring for like the next 20, so they're like good for factions forever. They just got to come up with ideas for how they fit together.
Yeah, and balancing them all too.
Right, and he told me a game gets harder to balance.
Yeah. Because
each time you add a faction, you have to test it with every single other faction that exists so far.
Holy.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot of work.
If there's one thing I'd say about the game is I would prefer it, I think, with 3. I think is my favorite way to play it. 4 is fine, although it's a little long and sometimes can be very chaotic on fighting. 2 is okay, it's good. But that whole first and second place thing isn't as exciting. Yeah. It's like, oh, I got first. Well, I got second. I almost think that if you play with 2, maybe you should just give out points for first place only or something to make sometimes if first place is 3 points and second place is 2 points, you don't fight over it.
Or you just make the rule that you have to have that. You have to have presence there.
No, you always have to have presence there.
You have to have presence there.
But still, I can throw something there. Oh, I got 2 points. I don't know.
I think that's valid.
But I think 3, there's a little bit more fighting going on. And you might get third place, which is not nearly as good as first.
True. No, I do agree that this is probably best with third player. With fourth player, I don't necessarily mind the length of it. It's hard to fit cards around all of those things.
Yeah, I was trying to think if they ever added a 5th player to this. This is for 2 players in here, 45 minutes. I don't remember if they ever went up to 5 players, but I never would.
Yeah.
That's just too many cards on the table.
I mean, it's when exactly. That's my main thing, is that even with 4 players, there's really, even if you use the corners of the bases, you still have a lot of cards out there, and that's just a lot of, I guess, I don't know, not really a logistical problem. It's just a spatial problem that because you have different gates. I'm sorry, different bases out there, and so you're going to have cards on those bases as well, and so everything just starts melding into everything else. There's just too much out there. So yeah, I agree with the 3-player being probably a sweet spot. I've never even desired to try it with 2. So I've only ever played it with 3.
Yeah, well, it's kind of, oh no, I have played it with 2, but it's kind of that game. It's like, hey, look, this is the ultimate geek game.
Yeah.
Hey, let's mix these factions together. And sure, at its heart, I don't think there's a ton of strategy. You're just kind of playing tactically. This is what happens now. Oh, you played that card, I'll play this card.
Right.
But I think the fun factor of it just really ramps up for me.
It does.
It's entertaining to watch the combinations. It's entertaining to watch a pirate captain go after a ninja, go after a robot, go after a dinosaur, after a Russian on a bear. You know, I just like all those combinations. Yeah. And while humor is not enough for a game, see Munchkin. Well, no, I mean, this game isn't deep either, but there's enough here to give you options. Like, I'm going to play this card. It would work best over here.
Right.
And here, now I'm going to pull off this cool combo. And that's the thing. It's like, wow, when you put these decks together, these 2 cards really work in an entertaining way.
Right.
So, still a big thumbs up from me. Still enjoy it. I want everything for Smash Up. Although, if you're going to skip one thing for Smash Up, like I said, maybe the Cthulhu expansion, or maybe even this box, although this is a really nice box. Yeah. But you get 1 faction in this box, the Geek expansion, which is probably my least favorite of all the expansions, if only because it feels a bit anachronistic. It's like, hey, robot ninjas against ghost geeks. Oh. Just odd. I don't know, it just doesn't work as well for me.
Short, yeah.
But still, big thumbs up for me. I'll give this 2 giant spider legs up, which means I ripped them off the spider.
Ew.
That's gross.
I'm going to give this 2 vampire alien thumbs up.
Oh, you smashed it up. I didn't even do that.
Because I think it works well in a number of different facets. It works well with other gamers. It works well with families. My kids love this game. They really enjoy playing it. And it has that thing where somebody has, especially if you have a good number of those expansions, somebody will find a faction that they will enjoy, and so that's an appealing factor. So, very cool game.
Smash Up.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.